we talking Prison Hustlers 101 Part 2. Mid-level hustles. What's good? Welcome to another episode of Kiko's P.A.I.N, the definitive channel of the Florida chain gang, where we turn bad into good and pain into progress. I'm Kiko Cortez, and today we talking Prison Hustlers 101 Part 2. Mid-level hustles. Picking up where we left off last week, where you done been in the joint a little while, you've been working your low-level hustles, you've been stacking your little canteen up, making plays, and now you're ready to ascend to the next level, start getting a little bit better money. But first off, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you ain't got to miss out on none of this content. It's prison content with a purpose. First thing I want to explain as before we move into these mid-level hustles is that these low-level hustles as well as these mid-level hustles mostly bring what we call land money. Land money is canteen. That's honey buns, soups, chips, etc. All the things that you can legally purchase out of the canteen and have in your locker. And that's one of the difficulties of low and mid-level hustles is that the more successful you are, the more of this land money that you have. And that becomes a problem in its own right. Because if you don't have receipts, recent receipts, you could have receipts from 6 months ago saying that you had 3 bags of coffee, but that doesn't mean, that's not going to explain these 10 bags of coffee you got right now. They're going to want receipts. Depending on the prison, some are more petty than others. They're going to want receipts somewhere in the last couple of weeks. Some places within the last week to explain, okay, what you got here. And because you can only spend $100 a week, okay, well, if you got $500, $600, $700 worth of canteen right here, it doesn't matter what receipts you got. You can't really explain how you legally acquired that. Not to mention if you get transferred or if you go to confinement. 9 times out of 10, that's an L. If the cops don't get you, inmates packing your property, somebody gonna get you when you got big, massive, 2, 3, 4 bags. Sometimes at a certain point, you have to rent out locker space in other people's lockers for some of these hustles because you acquire so much land money. You can lose it at any given time. Go to CM, whatever. Now you touch down. Everything that you've grinded for, everything you worked for over these months and years, you can lose just like that. So that's one setback, one of the major setbacks of these low and mid-level hustles. See, there's no cash money allowed in the Florida chain gang. All inmate money is in their inmate trust account and is accessed through their ID card. It's just like a debit card out here on the streets. You got a barcode on it, you put your ID, all that. You go to the canteen, hand him your card, he swipes it. What do you want? Let me get this, let me get that. Boom, and it comes off. And like I mentioned in past videos, you can spend up to $100 a week. Even if you have thousands of dollars in your account on each Monday, it's gonna say you have $100. You spend all that $100 before next Monday, you're basically broke. It's gonna say 000 until the next Monday and roll over, and that's all you have access to on a weekly basis. Of course, inmates are always smuggling cash money into the prison system through visitation or whatnot, because cash money always helps when someone has a hand-to-hand with a correctional officer. Depending on the place, cash money can be something that's very sought after, if there's a lot of hand-to-hand going, or if you have somebody that maybe works on an outside crew going in and outside of the prison, which is usually at work camp and lower level prisons. Your cash money is gonna be worth a lot more because you can consummate these deals. But other places, I've had cash money and it's just one more headache because now I gotta think, how am I gonna get this cash money out to my people and I can do something with it. So not only do I have to smuggle something in from the visitation, I gotta smuggle this stuff out because you get strip searched on the way in the viso and on the way out. First mid-level hustle I'm gonna mention is Tattoo Man. Tattoo Man always gonna eat, and obviously depending on your skill level is gonna determine on how good you can eat. From basic, why did I let this guy run on me talent to, wow, this guy could be famous on some Paul Booth type ish if he was out in the streets instead of in here with a life sentence, and everything in between. The problem with most tattoo men is it seems like so many of them have a drug dependency, and you'll see so many guys basically play themselves and end up running just to get high. There's a lot of tattoo men, especially in this day and age where Tunchi is such an epidemic, that are basically getting high on the daily and running up tattoo debt where they have to constantly run on people. And I've had roommates, it was the tattoo man, and every single day it's a fight because, oh, you told me you was gonna run on me today. Now you told me you was gonna run on me. Oh hell no, you gonna run on me. I ain't gonna see another person get run on until you run on me. So on and so forth. And that's very common. But you also have some who are talented, have control of their vices, and they only want cash app money on their card and they can stack it up. And that's the ones that I'm really talking about when I talk about mid-level hustle, because these guys, especially in this day and age with cash app, they're able to actually build up real money on the streets that can be used for anything that money can be used for, versus a lot of these guys always have a bag of canteen. They always got something to eat. They're eating good, living good, hot sandwiches, all this little petty chain gang stuff that people value. uh they have all that, but at the end of the day, they can't pay a light bill for somebody in their family on the streets, or send money over here, do what they want. To do that, you got to get that street money, cash app, money into your account, all that. Next hustle I'll mention is store man. This is a hustle that I had for years, and it really helped take me from low level hustles and work my way up into the mid level. And store man, that's a loan shark. In prison in Florida, we call it a store. Who got a store? And it's very common to see people start stores because all you really need is one good, canteen draw, $100 of stuff, and now you just start loaning it out. And the way the hustle works, generally, is 2 for 3. Whatever you come get, you get two of them, and you bring three back. So that's 50% interest. And you usually got 7 days is the standard time that you have to pay that back. If you don't, every person runs their ship a little different. But, if they late, some people going to tax them again, whatever the interest was. You might double it, whatever. That's up to you. But generally, you have 7 days to bring that, or you're going to either get taxed or you're going to get violence brought onto your person. That's the downside of being a store man, is you got to be constantly ready to get violent with people, because you dealing with the world's biggest knuckleheads. You got, obviously in prison, these are the biggest dummies out there, and the worst decision makers in the world. They're going to make you do something to them to give you what's yours. It's almost guaranteed, especially with the fact that so many of your clientele are drug addicts. They've gone to the drug man and been like, hey, let me get this on credit. Nah, you ain't getting nothing. You be twacking out over there. You gonna go to jail on my money? No. So what they gonna do? They gonna go to the store man, get the money, take it to the dope man, pay him, and now they run up a debt with the store man. And you constantly dealing with people going to jail, checking in, trying to just duck out, owing you money and everybody else money. So it's always like a fine line. If the canteen's sitting in your house, sitting in your locker, it's not making money for you. So it could be a tendency to be like, okay, yeah, if I'm not loaning people stuff, I'm not making money. I want to get this stuff out and get the interest coming in. But at the same time, it's better sitting in my locker than going out and never coming back. So you have to be a good judge of character. You have to establish an upfront, don't play with me. I'm gonna give you this. Don't play with me. Don't make me come do something to you. This is what's gonna happen if you don't bring my money back when you're supposed to. You really want it? Are you really gonna pay me? If not, do us both a favor. I caught an outside case for stabbing somebody about my money that I had loaned him when I was a store man. So it can carry a lot of downsides, but I ate for years off of running the store. I started with a little bit of nothing. Back when I was running the store, they still had cigarettes in the Florida chain gang. And I ran a rip store. Rip, that's what we call cigarettes in prison in Florida. I ran a rip store. I didn't deal with all the different food, the chips and the soups and all this stuff you got to maintain. I kept packs, yellow boxes of top cigarettes stacked up in my locker, 2 for 3, bring them back. One of these days I'm going to do a whole video about how that led to me having to stab this guy and catch more time. But for now, we just talking these hustles. The store man job, I mean, it's a good solid mid-level hustle. If you're disciplined, the hardest part is starting off, because if this is all you got, yeah, if you got money on your card and you can just keep eating while you have this store of inventory over here going out and coming back in, going out and coming back in, while meanwhile you're still eating off your card, yeah, it's easy to do it. But that wasn't how it was for me, and that's not how it is for a lot of people that's just hustling from the ground up. This is all you got right here. If you eat any of it, drink any of the coffee in there, consume any of this, that's that much less principal you got to put out and get interest on. And so you can easily eat yourself out of your whole hustle if you're not disciplined. You just got to sit there. I had a locker full of stuff and went to bed hungry at night many times because I didn't have it coming back in yet. I didn't have enough going out and coming in. So I couldn't sit there and, okay, I'm going to take a certain percentage of this and consume it myself. If I'd have did that, I'd have ate myself out of business. So, it takes discipline, and it taught me a lot of discipline, and it's not for everybody. So many people try to start it, and it always ends up, I mean, it's rare someone who keeps that store going for a long time. Next mid-level hustle is a sack pusher. That's the guy that sells drugs, but he's not necessarily the plug. He's not buying weight, as we would term it in prison. He might get this bomb thrown to him by the plug and be like, hey, bro, bring me back $50 for that. There's really $80, $90 worth of material in there. So you get it, break it down. Or you might have $50 to your name, $50 coming to your people, be like, hey, shoot that 50 over here. You send it to the dope man. Now you got the 50 piece, you can break this down into $80, $90 with the sack. Boom. Now instead of having that $50 that grandma could spare, you got $80, $90 worth of canteen. It can elevate a little bit too. Once you have a little bit of money, a dope man might be selling 3 for $100. That's 350 pieces for $100. Boom. You got the $100 to shoot to him. Now you got 350s instead of 2. You sell all 3 of them for $50 a piece. Cash app out there on the wire. Now you got 150 out there to play with. Next time you go to re-up with them, boom, you shoot them the 150, and you work your way up, re-ing up. You sitting there buying, 3 for 100, 5 for 150, whatever it may be, whatever deal is being done. You, by having that money out there on the streets, by having that cash app money or wherever it's at, being able to send money somewhere out there, real money in the world, you're gonna get these deals. And if you play it right, it's a slow grind, but each time you make your play, you're a little bit stronger. $50 more, $100 more. You bringing it back. Next thing you know, you can work yourself up. Cop a half ounce, cop a whole ounce, and now we're getting up out that mid level and heading to the high level. But for the context of this mid level hustles, we're mainly talking about these guys. They might take $50 a canteen and buy the piece and make more canteen. They might have the dope man bless them with the 50 piece and go out there and hustle. They might be one of the dope man's inner circle who gets sacked. And as long as he keeps bringing back that canteen, he's making his on the side. And most likely smoking for free. That's what he do as well. But that is a mid-level sack pusher. This next mid-level hustle, I already touched on in my last video on low-level hustles. And I'm going to put the link in the description for that video. But this is the chow hall job. The low level is the guy that just steals whatever he can get his hand on in the chow hall, smuggles it back to the dorm, and sells it for a little bit of canteen. But as I mentioned, if you're one of the few cooks, bakers, butcher, or storeroom, now you have access to the stuff as it's stored. You can get basically what you want. You can cook custom sandwiches and meals and take them back and sell them. And now we're talking $30, $40, $50 a day is what you can make. And as I mentioned, when legitimately all you can spend is $100 in a canteen a week, if you can make $30, $40, $50 a day in canteen, you were definitely ahead of the curve. Now this mid-level hustle here is actually one of the very few jobs in the Florida chain gang that gets paid. And that's the canteen man. I mentioned him in passing in the last video too. I mistakenly said they make $50 a week. I was informed by my homeboy that it's actually only $50 a month. But that's not what gets them in this mid-level. What gets them there is all the things they could do once they got that spot. So I'm telling you, those canteen men are generally making around $100 a day, easy if they want to, off of all the stuff they do inside that canteen. For one, People just gonna throw you stuff as a canteen man. People go up in there, they doing their order, they spending their money. Be like, hey, get yourself a Coke, bro. Hey, get yourself $1. Just from that alone, you're gonna rack up all types of extra inventory in there that is yours now. That's not on the inventory anymore. And now you can sell that to the people or give people jugs, give them deals, and here, well, you know what? You want this, that, and the other? Listen, I'm gonna give it to you, but buy this. And that way they can have you buy what they want out of their canteen, and they give you the things that are already theirs that are stored in that canteen but are no longer on the inventory. Some of these sites, the canteen man, they'll add things on to people's list. People sitting there, man, you in a hurry, you stressed out, you been waiting in line, you trying to get all your stuff and get back to the dorm. You reading off your list, you putting it in the bag, you're going. You don't check till you get back in the dorm and be like, dang, I didn't order that. Another $1. This is a little $1.50. It might be a little dollar something, this, there, or the other. Nothing big. And most people are gonna be like, fool got me. Other people gonna go back and make a deal. You give it back. But so many people are just gonna let it slide that you just easily make hundreds of dollars a week just off of that. You see 150, 200 people come through your window in a day. You just tax here and there a little bit and just do the math. You can add it up. A lot of canteen man, they'll charge you if you're only supposed to bring your state issued ID with your picture up there to that window and scan your card. Allow them to look at your face, make sure, because obviously, otherwise people will steal people's cards, go up there and clean them out and whatnot. So the administration, the institution, really puts down on these canteen men to make sure they're not letting inmates scan other inmates' cards. But for a price, they'll let you do whatever. You come up there and be like, hey, bro, I can scan my card. I can scan my homeboy card. All right, boom. And they'll tax you like $1.50, $2, whatever it may be, for that privilege. And that's another way you can rack up money. Needless to say, when you're in a job that has all the money, the canteen, there's a million and one ways to turn a profit from that. Now, this next hustle is high mid-level, and in certain scenarios can move its way up into high level. And that's a ticket man. What's a ticket man? A ticket man is Las Vegas, the bookie. Now, to run this hustle, you need to have an immense knowledge of sports. Whatever sport that you putting tickets out on, football, basketball, NASCAR, whatever it is, you need to know it inside and out. You making these odds, you better believe that these fools, you got an entire prison trying to hit your ticket, throwing money to try to get your money. And you generally paying 10-1 odds for a 4-pick. The odds go up as the picks go up. You got everybody on this compound headhunting, wanting to bust the ticket man. You better know your stuff and get some good point spreads on there. That's first of all. 2, you're going to need a lot of money to start with. You have to have a bank. And not just a lot of money on the streets. I mean, nowadays, in the Cash App era, yeah, you can get by further because almost everybody has a Cash App. You can't legally have a Cash App in the prison system, but most inmates that are into any kind of hustling, gambling, whatever, have somebody running a Cash App for them out there in the streets. And now with a Cash App, okay, you get hit too big and you don't have all the land money, the people that hit your ticket, if it's too much, you can just Cash App them real money instead of paying them in canteen. But for the most part, and over the history of this hustle, you had to have a large bank of land money. That means you might spend months acquiring bags of coffee, batteries, tunas, the most value dense items that they have in the canteen that because you're gonna have to store this stuff in your locker, other people's lockers, in your room. And I discussed in the beginning of the video how dangerous it can be having lots of land money because it can be taken from you primarily by the authorities, but also, I mean, let's be real, you a target for the Jack Boys too. You gotta already have all that money in case you get hit and pay out. Now, if you can survive the first 2-3 weeks of the NFL schedule, because generally NFL is the starting point and the most profitable season for ticket men in prison. If you can make it through them first couple weeks without getting hit real bad, now your bank should be strong enough that you can withstand all but the worst weekends ever for a ticket man. I was a ticket man for years, sports fanatic, times hustler. It's a natural fit. Now, related to this ticket man hustle is a low-level hustle that I left out last week. And that's the people that write the tickets for the ticket man. If you the ticket man, you ain't out there in every single dorm writing tickets for every single body. You generally want to have somebody in every quad, if not at least every dorm on the compound, working in the child hall. The more access to the more people that they have, the better. Because there's competition. There's other people running. At the beginning of the season, there's all types of people running tickets. But as they get cracked across the head throughout the season, there becomes less and less. But the competition is hard early on. You want people to play your ticket, not the next man's ticket. And that's the difficulty in the spread. You don't want to make a spread so hard that nobody's going to play your ticket. They're going to go play the one that looks sweet. You want to make it look sweet, but not be sweet. You need ticket writers to go write these tickets for you. And these ticket writers earn 25% of everything that they write. So if someone puts $10 on the ticket writer gets $250 and $750 goes back to the ticket man. If that person hits the ticket writer is no business of his. He wrote it, he got his 25%. That's the ticket man's business. But that's a low level hustle, a pretty decent low level hustle if you're good at it, that I left out of last week's video. Now, if you can get yourself one of these mid level hustles, you can live pretty well in the chain game. You're not rich by prison standards, but you're doing good. You're not wanting for nothing, you're respected. But that there is mid level hustles. You know, I'm sure I left something out. I always remember something afterwards. But those, for the most part, are the mid level hustles of the chain gang. But in the meantime, y'all need to get out there and get y'all hustle on. And I'm not talking about illegal. I'm talking about whether it's in school studying, whether it's in your job working, doing what you got to do to ascend to the next level. Because it's all about leveling up, inside and outside. That's what we about. Y'all stay blessed.